There are cars which have created a cult following thanks to Gran Turismo. These cars were unknown for the Western world and they managed to shock a younger generation. While it's safe to say these cars stand by their own merit in the automotive world, there is another set of cars which created a cult following thanks to Gran Turismo: broken cars. These have become legendary for a simple fact: your ability to destroy every single event, diluting any sort of challenge in the process. Because why would you challenge yourself in a racing game? I am sure different cars come to mind. For me, it's the Suzuki Escudo from Gran Turismo 2, the first proper broken car I got to experience as a child. I would like to hear your experiences with broken cars across the years. Make sure to leave them in the comments below. While I can already imagine some of the names all of you will mention, I am willing to bet money most of you won't mention the subject of this video: the Ford Ka. No, really. You will be so unhinged to race with a modified Ford Ka. Well, you're looking at it. As long as we reach 50 patrons. The goal is simple: if we reach 50 patrons, I will race a Ford Ka for 9 hours in Tsukuba, one of the few races remaining on my Gran Turismo 4 randomizer playthrough, which I've been streaming here on YouTube. I am doing YouTube full time and my viewers support my efforts. You can find a link to my Patreon in the description of this video along with my Discord server. While the Ford Ka is the furthest thing from a broken car, there is a car in Gran Turismo 4 which is capable of sweeping through multiple events, which often goes ignored by most of the community. Meet the Opera Performance S2000, the best car you never driven. Behind the striking looks of this track-ready monster hides an interesting story which is tied to Gran Turismo itself. Opera Performance was founded in 2002 by Yasukichi Yamamoto, a Japanese racing driver whose relationship with cars started at the early age of 4, while playing with the steering wheel on his dad's Datsun 510. By the age of 12, Yasukichi was racing karts and won his first championship 2 years later. While spending time on the track was important, another vital skill set was developed outside it thanks to relatives, as Yamamoto's grandfather owned a workshop where he will learn to build chassis for racing cars. His skill set allowed him to build race cars such as the Gather Streeter Honda Civic, which is featured in Gran Turismo 4. Opera Performance has a close relationship with Gran Turismo, as the creators of these two brands have raced under the same team during the 24 Hours of Nürburgring during 2011 and 2012 respectively. Goes without saying, Yamamoto has an incredible resume and the Opera S2000 is the perfect showcase of his craft. He started with the Spy Yellow S2000, which was stripped to bare metal. You could have picked other colors, Spy Yellow is stunning. With the paint stripped, the stock fender braces were replaced by new reinforced items. Suspension mounts were reinforced in order to stiffen the stock S2000 along with a roll cage. The entire chassis is reinforced and lightened, as parts which have a smaller effect on structural rigidity are drilled in order to save weight. Even the door frame and trunk lid arms. Yes, you heard that right. All of its bushings were remade in aluminum. However, the crown jewel are the carbon fiber panels. Each body panel was remade in carbon fiber. The end result is a stiffer and lighter car by a substantial margin. The engine wasn't the stock either, as it got a new set of camshafts along with individual throttle bodies and a titanium exhaust. So yes, this thing is an S2000 in looks alone. I've been able to find this information thanks to a magazine article featured in a sport compact car, which I will leave in the description of this video. Seriously, look it up, it's full of pictures. Also, Opera Performance have their own YouTube channel where they showcase the same S2000, which you should totally look into as well, and it will be featured in the description of this video. All of this information should shine a light on this obscure build. Just like leaving a like on this video will make your day brighter and help me create more content. While this is an impressive build in all aspects, part of its myth was created thanks to Gran Turismo 4. Many have met this car during their playthrough, as it can be an opponent featured in Tuning Car Grand Prix, a championship required to complete Gran Turismo 4, where it happens to be one of the best cars in the grid, if not the best. It's always a contender for the title and will give anyone a miserable day if they aren't prepared to beat it. Most people will resort to creative strategies to beat this track monster. In my defense, I was using a station wagon which barely had more power and was much heavier than the S2000, and it was beating me on tire wear. I had an 8-hour race against it, which I streamed here on YouTube and you can watch after this video is over. In order to comprehend the power of this car, one has to buy it, which is quite cheap given it can be bought for 150,000 credits. It is also a prize car for beating the Polyphony Digital Cup. The first test drive will probably shock you, as this car has insane amounts of grip, in no small part thanks to its absurd grip modifiers. What are grip modifiers? Basically, they are a chassis stud which resembles mechanical grip, and higher grip modifiers means better response while turning, and more grip at your disposal while exiting corners. The Opera S2000 has better grip modifiers than all LMPs. In fact, it sits at 6th place at the top 10 of highest grip modifiers. You know which one is first? The Amuse S2000 R1. Oh look, another S2000. Gran Turismo 4 may feature tons of Nissan cars, but its heart belongs to the S2000. You can find this list created by Dkanch in the description of this video, along with a link to his YouTube channel. exceptional. Another benefit of the Opera S2000 comes with downforce, as its wing provides the same downforce as a GT wing, which could be bought on GT Auto. With all these stats, the Opera S2000 is one of the best handling cars in the game, able to outmaneuver all sorts of cars. Not only it's faster through corners, it also has excellent tire wear thanks to its low weight, meaning it can stay out for longer stints, making it a prime candidate for endurance races. However, there are a few improvements one can make to get the most out of it. Turns out you can buy an extra stage of weight reduction, which is always welcome. The next upgrade is a racing suspension kit. Really, ignore all previous tiers, this is the one you want in all cases. If you wish to make substantial differences to handling, same logic applies to gearboxes, as you want complete control of each gear in order to have the perfect setup for each car. We'll add a fully customizable limited slip differential oil here, also add the brake balance distributor for good measure. With these parts, you want to raise the ride height to its maximum, 108mm. Gran Turismo 4 doesn't cope well with lower cars, which is why you always want to raise ride height about 100mm. Spring rates should be reduced as well. I found 7 and 7.5 for front and rear respectively works well, but they should be softer for Nürburgring as always. If you wish to copy this setup, you can pause the video. LSD settings can be slightly personal, but I find it doesn't need much acceleration given wheel spin is relatively low. The acceleration helps in case the Opera S2000 moves under braking. These numbers work quite well for me after testing different settings. Another quirk of this car is the fact you can push brake balance to relatively high numbers, at least while using racing tires. I kept both axles at 8 and I didn't experience any issues. As always, gearing should be modified depending on each circuit, but one should perform the gear check first. Push the final gear slider all the way to the right, then move the auto slider all the way back to 1. Once this is done, you are free to adjust the final gear depending on each circuit, and don't touch the auto slider or you will have to do this again. The next set of upgrades are optional as they depend on your interests. If you wish to create the most powerful version of this S2000, buy a racing muffler and a stage 3 NA tuning. Now you have over 400 horsepower in a car which weighs next to nothing. However, if you aim towards entertaining races, you should mismatch different parts until an appropriate degree of performance is reached. For this video I've been using a stage 2 NA tuning along with a racing muffler, which leaves the Opera S2000 at 400 horsepower. I found this is an appropriate setup, as finding an adequate matchup for the Opera S2000 is another challenge in itself. JGTC cars are all matched, as I have proven during this 6-hour livestream, tackling an endurance race in Suzuka. On the other hand, the S2000 is too slow to beat LMPs. It lacks the power to keep up with them in most circuits, meaning GT World Championship wouldn't be possible. After some trial and error, I found the right set of opponents to test this ungodly track toy. The expert events are often forgotten by most who play Gran Turismo 4, but they house interesting championships which deserve to be played. Such is the case of the Dream Car Championship, a 10-race series which can have varied car rosters. Some opponents are much faster than JGTC cars and slower than LMPs at the same time. They present a perfect balance, which is exactly what I needed for the Opera S2000. After a few rerolls, I found a lineup where every single car presents a threat. The first race of this championship takes place at Opera Paris, a circuit where handling is king. I decided to skip qualifying for the simple fact it will make these races trivial, even more so in circuits like Paris. It doesn't take long before the first opponent falls victim to my S2000. As always, one has to sort through back markers before reaching your real opponent. Trying to go 3 wide might be a bad idea, however. One wants to climb positions as fast as possible before the leading cars pull away. I climb my way to 3rd place, where my next target happens to be the cover car of GT4, the GT2LM Spec 2. The S2000 showcases its superior braking, as I can brake much later. Even if I make a bit of unintentional contact with it, I had nowhere to go, and yes, pushing it was questionable, but 2nd place is mine. So I will leave this incident in the rearview mirror. There are more important problems up front, in the shape of a Nissan GTR concept car. Gran Turismo 4 took the liberty to create a race car out of the R35 concept, and it happens to be quite good. It doesn't get to unleash its full power in Paris. It's a good handling car with 600 horsepower, but it's crazy how the S2000 allows me to brake so much later, to the point where I gained over a second after 2 or 3 corners. Superior grip and handling saved the day, as 1st place is mine after 2 laps. Something which I couldn't catch in camera was the fact the GTR went wide and crashed into a wall after falling to 2nd place. The fun thing is, they kept losing time against me to the point where I won the race by almost 6 seconds. Another thing to mention is the fact this race had a score of 197 A-Spec points, because we need more proof that A-Spec points are useless and broken. The 2nd race of this championship takes place at Tokyo Route 246, a circuit which benefits race cars rather than handling. However, the Opera S2000 has an advantage with its absurd grip. It can take certain corners at full speed. The way this car grips is absurd, it's like a Formula 1. It can overtake the Ford GT on the outside. Imagine you are the cover car of your game, the crown jewel locked behind one of the hardest tournaments. But the developer's friend has a car company, and they made that car better than you. Nobody will cry for you, Ford GT. Oh god, he hurt me. He's back for vengeance, and he's got an escort too. This is 2 versus 1. If they got to resort to contact, then they are truly desperate to stop me, but they won't, and neither does the GTR, who suffers the same fate. The main straight allows these faster cars to approach me in most cases. However, I managed to gain distance on the final section of the track as they are slightly slower, unless I crash and the GTR goes past, meaning I have to recover first place in a single lap with tires which have seen better days. This is a minor setback for the S2000, however, it isn't enough to stop it and the GTR falls to second place once again, even if it was a really close finish. The third race of the championship is easier, taking place at Deep Forest, a circuit which has been left for street cars in GT4, which is a shame because it's full of fast corners which reward cars like my Opera S2000. Handling is king here, meaning the rest of the field don't have a single chance. The next race was a different story however, as it takes place in Seoul, an urban circuit which looks straight out of the Formula 1 calendar, meaning it's 2 straights glued together by a 90-degree turns and a chicane. This is the first circuit where the Opera S2000 is outmatched, as it cannot compete with these cars in top speed unless we take the underground approach with nitrous. I mean, might as well, given this S2000 already has a body kit, but that's beside the point. I need to use my nitrous wisely, as I needed to overtake and hold my lead during 7 laps. However, in order to have a chance, I also need to shrink the gap given by a rolling start, which is generous on this circuit. I do have an advantage in the single chicane present in Seoul, while nitrous allows me to maintain enough speed to remain on the fight, thanks to slipstream and good braking. I managed to take first place from the GTR. The race isn't over as it outpaces me, there's nothing I can do outside blocking. It does manage to overtake me once, but loses the position as it brakes much earlier than me, but it doesn't give up. I am about to cross the finish line and it was going fast enough to overtake me, so I blocked the entire road with my S2000 and have it push me into the finish line. I win. I sure hope the next race is better. Oh god, it's Hong Kong. This circuit has one problem, and it comes with the absurd gap opponents are allowed to build thanks to rolling starts. While they move slower than a drunk turtle, the GTR in first place manages to gain 6 seconds on me. I got to sort through back markers as quick as possible, and my first overtakes are quite risky. There is a reason why I still have nitrous equipped, and that is the fact I need it, because I wasn't able to shrink the gap with the GTR without it. All the back markers were taken care of as I start the second lap. While I sit 4 seconds behind the GTR, I have a pretty good lap which allows me to shrink our gap by 2 seconds. I am glad the S2000 has gripped for days, which allows me to tackle the final section of the track in a very aggressive fashion. While the GTR pulls away in this straightaway, I am able to even the odds thanks to nitrous. This is the problem I was facing without it, as I lost any ground I gained through corners. We trade places a couple of times at the start of the 4th lap, but my dive bomb skills allowed me to secure the lead, or so I thought. See, this is why I needed nitrous. The GTR always outpaces me and I can't break away from it. Again, my saving grace comes with braking distances, as I can delay them much more than my opponent ahead, which is quite useful in a circuit like Hong Kong, as the best spot for overtakes lies at the end of its short straightaway, perfect for a well-executed dive bomb which secures me first place. I managed to maintain my lead through the race. The GTR was close, but not enough to attempt an overtake. Hong Kong always presents such— oh, you're joking. You didn't. You just didn't. The GTR pushes me off and takes first place from me. I hate you so much. You just couldn't take the loss, and neither can I. Yes, that's how I won this race. I am sure won't have to rely on nitrous again. Oh, never mind. It's test course. The favorite circuit of every 4 years old. We need extra long gears for this race. Then again, I cannot compensate for my lack of power in this case. Even with nitrous, this race is a loss. Even if the Opera S2000 is crazy fast and I wanted to showcase its top speed, 3rd place isn't that bad for a meme race. Thank god it's the only one in this championship. I spoke too soon. This is beginner's course, one of the dumbest circuits ever made, and we got to race in this deformed oval for 27 laps. Here we are, a series for fully fledged race cars which takes place in a circuit made for K cars. Probably someone at Polyphony thought it was funny, and I can see why. These cars are too wide for this tiny strip of tarmac, which leads to questionable overtakes. I had a good battle with the GTR as it cannot outmatch me in handling at corner speed. However, I cannot get past given how wide it is, unless I resort to creative racing lines and make the overtake by stretching the road slightly. I didn't crash into it, so it was kind of clean. It's not like the GTR is slow, it remains close to me until someone disconnects my controller and I end up spinning. The way cars flip whenever you touch grass is kind of annoying at times, as placing a single wheel is enough to ruin your race, meaning I need to overtake the GTR again. It takes until lap 17 where I place myself at the side of the GTR, taking the final corner too wide, or trying to do so. I hold the inside, the GTR remains on my side until the end of the corner where it goes straight into the pit lane and has a mental breakdown. It even goes for a pit stop for no reason. Maybe they were up to something given my medium tires were rubber soup by the end of the race. My lead was substantial enough to grant me a victory. The next race takes place at Lessard, a circuit which doesn't suit my underpower S2000, even more so when it's the classic variant without chicanes. Our good friend the Nitrous Kid comes back for one last dance. There isn't much outside relying on Slipstream and Nitrous to overtake my opponents. As usual, I am faster through corners, but Lessard isn't full of them, but I managed to be fast enough to win this race. It took until the second lap before I had a chance to overtake them. I admit the final set of chicanes is useful as the AI is slower, so I was able to build a healthy gap before the checkered flag. The last race of this championship takes place at Monaco. While the S2000 lacks power and suffers on the first uphill section, the back markers are slow through corners, to the point where I gain 2 positions, which is nice given Monaco is one of these circuits where the leading car gets an absurd lead over the back thanks to rolling starts. It takes a bit longer before I can humiliate the Gran Turismo 4 cover car one final time before chasing the GTR once again, who has 5 seconds over me. Without traffic ahead, I am able to let the S2000 free and it starts to make serious progress, even if I lose time whenever we reach a small straightaway, but it's not enough to stop me, and the GTR falls to second place, or maybe not, as I fall back to second place and I got to dive my way into first place once again. Thank God the S2000 allows me to brake so much later and recover first place. Or so I thought as we keep fighting through the final section of the track. By now the GTR resorts to violence, and so do I as we trade hits. Sadly, the chunky GTR is way better at hand-to-hand racing, so we fall back to square one and the chase starts again. However, the GTR suffers on low-speed corners, and first place is mine, and it remains to be mine. The Opera S2000 managed to beat this championship with full-blown race cars. I wanted to showcase the limits of the Opera S2000 rather than showcase every single race which it can beat, because we will be here until next week. If you have doubts about this car, then try it yourself, because the way it grips cannot be described with words. It takes a bit of effort to push this car to its absolute limit. I admit it wasn't easy to win these races as they demanded a perfect drive. The magic of this car lies on the speed it can carry through corners. There is little which can keep up with it, and those who can usually rely on top speed rather than handling. In some circuits, the Opera S2000 is outmatched, sure, but it has enough speed to remain close against touring cars, meaning it can beat most opponents in Gran Turismo 4. I think people forget about this car because it's hidden on Tuner Village, and they don't have traditional dealerships there. However, if one wants a car which is cheap and can sweep most events, I doubt there's anything better than the Opera S2000. Well, maybe one thing, my patrons, and we thank them as follows. Or amateur racers, professional racers, and world champions. Lane Dev, See What Happens Racing UK, Whiskey Tuesday, Sandere Kiselli, Enzo Lassunieri, Raziel, Hunter Kaufman, Josh Pig, Crusader Glenn, Lonnie Murray, Ticecom, Matim19, and Espriel. If you wish to join these wonderful people, you can follow the link to my Patreon in the description of this video. You will get early access to my videos along with a special role on my Discord server. All of this is starting at $3 a month. This channel is funded by the support of my viewers, meaning every single one of them makes a massive difference. I am working with YouTube full-time, and donations are my biggest source of income. If we meet our goal of 50 patrons, I will play a 9-hour endurance race with a modified 4K, which I am sure you will all enjoy. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, or a dislike if you didn't. If you want to see more, there is a playlist with different videos on Gran Turismo and other racing games at the end of this video, along with a playlist with my Gran Turismo 4 randomizer live streams. I hope to see you on my next video, or whenever I stream. Take care, and bye for now.